Welcome, listeners, to Kyle and Cody's Cult Cinema Cast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Cody.
Quick thing, I don't know that we do an episode on it, but I did see Morbius last weekend,
Yeah.
so that's a thing. And I liked it, which is probably the worst part, which is probably just killing my credibility right
Yeah, I was
there.
kind of on the fence because I'm really not like a big fan of like Jared Leto. So like I
Yeah,
don't
no, I
know
get
how
that.
he is
Yeah, isn't he
supposed to
like?
run his own franchise, but like
Isn't he tech? Isn't he a cult leader? Is this the thing I'm remembering wrong?
uh
Doesn't he have like a? I've heard like he has like an island with like people who like follow his every move. I might be thinking of
yeah,
someone
I have
else
no
though.
fucking clue.
I maybe
Charles
heard
Manson?
that. No, no, this is a no. This was an actor. Like this was an actor who
Yeah.
did this. I'm gonna Google this up because I don't want to like slander Jared Leto if this isn't the case because that's a pretty serious
I mean
charge
like
of like, oh
no
yeah,
no no
he
no
has
no
a
no. No.
cult.
Here's the thing though. I'm not gonna like completely and entirely disagree with you because like it sounds like something that Jared Leto would do. So that I mean like you're not 100% wrong. And if you
I
told me that
just want
Jared
to make
Leto had a
sure.
cult, I would I
I do just need to business ventures. Maybe I should just Google, does Jared Leto have a cult? Jared Leto, does he have a cult? Because this is, I should.
apparently
Cult of Jared
in
Leto.
2019, yeah, Jared Leto and his band 30 Seconds to Mars started a cult. And like I'm not gonna shit talk 30 Seconds to Mars. They did like one good song.
Yeah,
I don't think that like it's justifiably allowed to like start a cult with.
yeah. I suppose it is technically the band's cult. I think.
That's not really promising though. According to Grunge, um, according to 2005's New York Post report, Leto and his bands were known to invite underage girls to their concert. And that's where the whatchamacallit cuts off. So I'm hoping that there's not something super disturbing or disgusting
No,
going on
yeah,
there, but
no. But I think any like my real point, yeah, it does seem like this is like a thing people say. I can't find like a good website to give me a report on my Google. I don't know. At least not that I know to be a good site, but I'm not like a news expert. But anyway, there's some like my thoughts on it were I'm covering my mouth in front of the microphone and like why am I doing that? That's probably a bad thing to do. But my thoughts on Morbius. This movie is in effect one of those weird 70 movies from like a weird movie from the 70s where like uh, the owner of like an actual cult plays a vampire, and like there's something very 70s about that. That's almost certainly an actual B movie, and if anyone can find that, I will review it or like at least watch it. But yeah, there's something really interesting about like a cult leader playing a vampire. Like it's not a good like Sony's efforts like last the end credits scene, like if you that can fuck right off. Sony's efforts to make this into a franchise are almost certainly bad. Like at the end they bring in fucking what's the fucking guy's name? Who plays the Vulture in Spider-Man
Michael Keaton.
Homecoming? Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton shows up at the end of it and then flies over to Morbius and it's just like, "Hey, I think we could do some good." I'm like, "Oh no, 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 no! This is a bad thing." But I thought
Wait,
the rest of the movie was interesting. Go ahead.
Michael Keaton flies over as the Green Goblin, or
No, as
is he
Vulture,
just like what?
as he's
As the
Vulture in that
Vulture.
movie.
Okay, so I didn't realize that there was a continuity where this guy's in the Marvel universe.
I think they are now. At the end of the last Venom movie, Venom, Eddie Brock fell asleep in a hotel room and then woke up in the MCU. So this was established, but it's super weird. I have no idea what's going on. I
Yeah.
have yet to see what the results of this are, so it's still really early on. But the yeah no the movie itself I thought was at least interesting. I thought it did like an interesting job with like the characters it had. The special effects are goofy as shit, and I understand completely why people don't like it. This is very much the same thing
Okay,
as
so sorry, I brought this up the other day in one of the group chats we got going on. Explain to me what in the fuck, like, why is garlic effective against vampires and most like
I'm not sure.
is
I
there
think it's a
like any
rabies thing.
credence to the actual it's a what?
Rabies? A lot of vampire lore is based on like people getting rabies. I'm not sure if like rabies guys don't like
Yeah.
garlic, but that's my best guess. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah.
Wonder if there's like a way you could trace that back to like its
Oh,
origins.
someone's probably done it.
Because like I don't know when it actually started being implemented into like the vampire mythos, but I was just thinking about that the other day, and it was like,
No,
why in the fuck
I
is
haven't.
that actually a thing? But
Someone definitely knows, but I haven't looked it up. But anyway, this is kind of the same thing with like Batman v Superman or like the Star Wars prequels. Where like I understand why people don't like them. I just like them. I don't argue too much with people that don't like those movies. I do disagree on some points, but I get why people don't like them. Like it's with the Star Wars thing. It's like if you're like a really if you go to movies because you like the performances of actors, you're not like gonna care much for those prequels or like if you didn't want to like ride along with like Zack Snyder's weird Elseworld thing, you're not gonna like the like Zack Snyder like DC movies. But yeah, no, it's I thought it had some interesting points. If I ever do a full review, I'll explain this, but I kind of liked it. I don't think everyone would. I understand why everyone hates it. I just and like this doesn't even have like a following. It's just I kind of liked it. But yeah, that's my input on the Morbius controversy. Stay tuned to my upcoming video essay. Morbius is good, actually. I don't know if I'm kidding. We'll find out. This week, though, right now, the episode you were listening to, we are reviewing a little like a cult followed sci-fi movie called Phase 4, a 1974 British American sci-fi horror film known for a couple things.
okay, so why is it
Go ahead.
called British American sci-fi film?
Oh, British and American guys worked on it.
Okay, so because it wasn't shot in like Britain, I think it was shot somewhere in Britain, and then
No, it's shot in Kenya.
like the interior shots, yes, and then the outside shots are done in Kenya. Like the
Yeah.
interior shots are all done in Britain.
Yeah, I think even I think even most of the actors are British too. Because
Oh yeah.
I swore I heard one of those American farmers drop a British accent at one point. Like
Hmm.
there's some guys playing American farmers at the beginning of the movie, and I swear I heard one of them like drop the British accent for a little bit. Been
So
on the
so
movie long,
I was
but
gonna say like the main character of the novel or like of the story, like he sounds American, but like he doesn't look American. But he's also like this is 1974, so he could just look
uh, but yeah,
1974ish.
but yeah, this movie has a couple of reasons people know about it. It was a box office flop. I don't have the numbers for it, I guess, but it became known. It got some like TV airings that people liked. It was also on one of the very early episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like I think it was even like one of like the first season where they were only on like local television. It's inspired by an H.G. Wells short story called Empire of Ants. The inspiration is obvious. I don't know that it's all that similar. I think it's just like a premise they took. But most importantly, and the reason I picked up on it is this film is okay. Someone's going to argue about me with this, but it is almost entirely responsible for the creation of the crop circle phenomena. Like almost
Yeah,
entirely.
okay, so
Yeah, weirdly
s
enough.
so when you brought this up originally, I was like, "Oh, sweet, we're gonna watch a movie about aliens." There's not a single fucking alien in this whole entire movie.
No, yeah, the alien like I think there's like a space beam that like mutates the ants in the movie. But no, it's not it doesn't involve aliens.
It just
But
said cosmic event on Wikipedia.
yeah, cosmic event, so space. Yeah, no, yeah, this movie is like largely responsible for the phenomena of crop circles. There are like like the big guys who are really convinced crop circles are real will like point to like a few scant examples of like a circle popping up way back when, but they are like so far apart as to be unrelated. It's also like they relate it to like fairy rings, which are not remotely the same thing. But crop circles, for those of you who don't know, are a form are like a guerrilla art form where like graffiti essentially, where like you'll take the standard way of doing it is you'll take like a 2x4 or like a 2x6, put ropes through either end, go into a guy's field, and then make a big circle in the crop. Some of them got more elaborate in recent years, but they can be quite basic. It's basic as like a simple circle in the. There's only one crop circle in this, and it's like notably like it's made by like clearly made by some sort of farming equipment or like a lawnmower, probably farming equipment.
Yeah, and this one was weird because it had a giant square in the center of it.
Which is
Like
yeah, sort of crop circle-y, yeah.
like,
People have made them like that.
yeah, I mean, but, like, all the crop circles I've seen have been rather just a giant circle, or they've had, like, lines in it, and, like, it's super elaborate. This one was just a circle with a square cut out of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the
Like,
elaborate
somebody
ones
gave
come
up
later.
lawn mowing halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the elaborate ones come later as, like, people get better at it. But, what actually happened, and this is a funny story, like, the guy there was a couple guys, they saw this movie, saw the crop circle, and devised the way of making it by taking the 2x4s because you can't they were doing this in other people's farms, so they can't really like rightly like take a lawnmower and make these in the middle make these. They were doing it without permission in the middle of the night, and the best way to do that was to take these like boards and like do it well in the dead of night while no one's gonna pick up on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those two guys, these two British guys, they see the movie, and for something like 10 years, maybe 15 years, they go out drinking and then go driving out into the middle of nowhere and make a crop circle in some guy's field.
Yeah.
Eventually other people like get inspired by this and start doing them themselves. At some point in the 1980s, it becomes at a point where like they cannot all be established to these two guys, but they did like a significant amount, like they did all of them between like the first appearance of them really, and then like 7 years later or something, and then other people start doing it. But the reason they never told
That's
anyone this.
illegal, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you can get in trouble for this. It's happened. I think some Austrian teenagers got caught doing it once. They didn't get fined too badly because technically they're only getting fined for like the damage they did to the crop. And here's why you don't do these is because they become tourist traps, which do way more damage to the crop than anything else. And
Yeah.
usually you won't be held legally responsible for that, but don't do it. It's just going to mess with somebody's farm. It's going to they're going to have to get like insurance involved because you cannot harvest them at that point. So if you do get permission, you're probably going to have to pay them. I'm sorry, this is just the thing you're going to have to do. But yeah, so eventually they end up it goes on for a few years, and one of the guys his wife is like wondering where he's going in the middle of the night and where all this like these unregistered mileages on his vehicle are going. So in order to convince her that he hasn't had an affair, him and his friend have to confess to the entire thing, and they go about doing this because this is a tall thing. Like, this is not like a thing you can just say to get out of your affair. So they go to the police and like they get like some researchers involved, and they demonstrate that they can make one first of all, and then to prove its authenticity, they bring in some crop circle experts who go in there and go in there and say, yes, this is a genuine crop circle, because they've learned the difference between how effectively what they've done is they've learned the difference between how these two guys make crop circles and how all the copycats make crop circles. So they were able to identify which ones are like the authentic ones, and so they identified it as authentic, and then the cops bring out the two guys and they're just like, yeah, these guys made this morning, like we all saw them do it. Like, it was a whole thing. So this is why like the crops people associate it with aliens doing it, but this
Yeah,
pretty effectively knocked it out of the park. People have done this all over the world since. It's like because news stories happened and people, and like this was a small enough conspiracy that like these two guys were able to keep their mouth shut for like literal years. I don't think this got exposed until like the 90s. And they started doing this in the 70s, like late
which is
70s,
funny
but
because, like, yeah, arguably, you don't even like. That's all you have to do is go in and do it once a year,
mhm.
and then every day on that day come back. I guess like it's a little bit harder because after the fifth year, somebody's gonna be like, "Yeah, we gotta go out to that field this weekend and catch the aliens in the act," and then you're just gonna get caught in
I
the
mean, they
act.
did it
But
different. They did the
but like
different
it's extreme. But what I'm saying is it's extremely doable.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm pretty sure you could even run like an insurance scam at that point in time where you're just like, yeah, some teenager keeps on coming into my field and putting down crop circles. I'm insured.
Um, I don't know that it wouldn't be like an infected. Like, I don't think they give you like a partial crop failure isn't going to get you that much money. They might not even give you something if like it's not like serious enough. Usually, a lot of the damage from crop circles is usually done by like looky-loos that like stomp all over the thing, taking pictures. So it's not actually the
Hmm.
crop circle itself that does the damage. It's like everyone stomping over it. Typically, this is just how it works. But yeah, so that's a fun little thing. And I was kind of curious about what the movie was like, so I decided to do it, to review the movie because I was curious. Because like this is responsible for some real world shenanigans. And like no one talks about that for some reason. It's like mostly because they want to accuse it of being
I
aliens.
think
Yeah.
I would I think I'd actually want to watch a movie about the two dudes who ran around and made the crop circles more than I
Oh, that
wanted
would
to
be
watch this movie.
that would be at least be like a good episode of like a sitcom. Like I
Yeah,
could at least like that'd be a good sitcom episode if nothing else. Like I don't know, like it wouldn't be like a ton. I don't know, like necessarily there's enough material to get like a whole movie out of, but you could definitely do a sitcom episode out of it.
there was a new TV show that I wanted to watch called Sliders. If anybody's
I've heard of that.
heard about this, like get back to me. It's like a quantum leap. I want to almost say parody,
That's sounding familiar. I've never seen it
and
though.
yeah, it ran in like 1995, and like it's about people who are jumping from different directions. So I think I'm gonna find that at some point.
But yeah, I think we'll get into the movie. This music movie that has caused so many shenanigans. So yeah, the movie opens with a the words phase 1 in the corner. Now this happens every time there's a phase, but I missed the part where they put up phase 3. So I don't know when that happened. I saw phase 2 and I saw phase 1, 2 and 4, but I missed where they put phase 3 up. So I apologize. That's my own hiccup. We're introduced to the film by a narration from starting with Michael Murphy's characters, James R. Lesko, an American mathematician, I'm going to call him, who specializes in game theory and has been using that to examine animals. I don't know the science behind that. It's just a thing he's doing. Well, techno babble, honestly, to me, I don't know if it makes any sense. I'm not a math guy, but yeah, he's talking about he's given like a bit of a intro about how initially the effects were initially unnoticed, and how a big cosmic event mutated all the ants on Earth, which has slowly caused them to become more intelligent, and they've started to take down their natural predators while becoming far more superior. He also points out a guy named Ernest Hubbs, played by Nigel Davenport, a British biologist, zoologist, one of the two, something like that. But he had noticed it first, and he essentially linked up with Lesko to create a research project, which got to be pretty hardcore. Davenport's a weird Hubbs. Ernest Hubbs is a weird character. I thought at first he was siding with the ants, but toward the end of the movie, that ends up not being the case. It just seems like the worst kind of red herring, where it's only a red herring because the actor's doing his performance a weird way, not because it's actually like a reasonable theory that doesn't pan out.
Did we, like, the name Davenport sounds super familiar. Have we not done anything with this guy?
Movies and TV shows. I will find out. He's traditionally a stage actor more than anything. He's in the '74 Dracula movie.
We didn't do the 74 one.
Nope,
We did
nope.
the
Yeah, the
white and
original.
black one.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
Was in a Tarzan movie, but I don't think he was in the Tarzan that we did.
No, I don't think so. He's in stuff. Oh, he's in a Tarzan movie that was actually opposite the one we reviewed. Which is funny. But he was in the '84 Christmas Carol. He's been in movies people have seen.
Huh. Maybe I am thinking of Nigel Thornberry.
Could be. Could be you're being a bit of a anti-British racist here. Can't tell the British people apart.
Well, I mean, if anybody is allowed to be racist to British people, I think it's Indigenous people.
Oh,
Fuck 'em.
absolutely. I'm not canceling you.
I'd hope not. Like yesterday was Canada Day,
Well, no, it was 3 days. It was 4 days ago. We're filming this on July 4th,
so
which is
America Day.
yeah, Independence Day. Yeah. So Hubs takes over the narration at some point. They talk about how the ants species have stopped like fighting amongst each other, and they've kind of like united into like single hives. So
Oh, also, sorry, I
go ahead.
wanted to bring
Go
this
ahead.
up. If anybody's got like 3 hours, honestly, go search the ant war currently going on because it's fucking giant, apparently.
Wait, Ant War?
Ant war, like black ants and red ants are notoriously fighting each other. Like
Oh,
there's literally been an ant war going on for like thousands of years at this point.
huh. So like they're just that's just such a
Yeah.
fantasy. It sounds like such a fantasy thing. For thousands of years, the black ants and the fire ants have been at war. Can the princess bring peace by reuniting their two
No,
kingdoms?
but like, no, you make it sound so stupid when you say it like that, but no, like apparently it's a giant thing. Like like thousands of years of evolution has been like gone into like how these ants fight each other and stuff like that because like
So the ant tribes
I think
uniting.
there's like a whole docuseries
So
on
the
it.
ant tribes uniting to overthrow humanity is actually a pretty big deal, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, like I think more than this movie lets on. Like it's literally like, yeah, the ants are working together now. By the way, like as just like a little side note, but like,
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to add like the 3 minutes of like the ant lore to like understand
oh
that
yeah,
how significant that reference is. This is one of those things where you have to like go into the expanded material to like figure out how big a deal that is. It's like you watch it like without the knowledge and like, oh, that's an interesting thing. You watch it with the lore and like, oh man, this is actually a big thing.
no, like we're definitely really downplaying it by like making jokes about it. But damn, like thousands of ant lives has been millions,
Oh yeah,
millions of ant lives like have been lost at the hands of this ant war. So
ant
like,
war. I love the ant
um,
war. I'm very invested in the ant war now. I don't know what ant
honestly,
side do
look
you
it up.
cheers for? What side are we cheering for? Is this the
I wouldn't probably know the extended knowledge of it, but like I like black ants because they're less like aggressive. Red ants are kind of dicks, so
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. Is that, like that's my first instinct, but could this be like one of those things where like the fire ants have like a really good reason? It's like really like we don't know, but like it's secretly like the black ants have like committing like genocide against like the fire ants children, doing like a whole thing there. It could just be like completely understandable or such dicks. Like it's like, oh yeah, no, they're angry, but they have like a pretty good reason. Like it'll like once the war's over, it'll take like generations of healing to like overcome this generational trauma to like cool to kind of like cool their jets on this.
it's like one of those things that make you look at like the movie Ants completely differently, where they're like just like soldier ants like marching around. But that's like 95% of what this is. So
Oh, this is great. This is my favorite bit. I love it. I'm happy. This is the happiest I've been all day. I like that so much. But yeah, so the ants have united to overthrow, or who have united to eventually overthrow humanity. Though that's not clear to the main characters yet, because it is again initially like a tall order. They don't have like advanced technologies or whatever. But we'll see like examples of how spooky they are later. A lot of this has gone over like a montage, which is something that the director Saul Bass, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's really known for that. He's done like some very significant like intro cinematics for movies. And like this movie is like tail ended with like montages. There's a lost ending, extended ending to this where it's like a whole 2001 Space Odyssey and like montage about how like the movie ends, and he's really good at that. So this is actually his only full feature film he's directed. He's done like shorts and obviously contributed to a lot of other stuff, but this is only full movie he's done. He's also like what he's done is he's like also inner like done montages with a lot of the essentially wildlife footage taken by Ken Middleham, who also did ant footage. He also shot the ant footage for something called the Hellstorm Chronicle, which actually sounds. It sounds like it's about the ant war, but it's mostly about like I think it's about insects struggling for like survival against human encroachment. It won the Oscar for Best Academy Award in 1972, or Best Documentary in 1972. So it's like a real thing. I love that it's called the Hellstorm Chronicle. That makes it sound like there's no way this is a documentary of all things. Like if I was writing a fantasy novel and I
yeah, I'm
called it
actually
if I wrote a fantasy novel and called it the Hellstorm Chronicle, you'd call me a hack. They'd be like, "No, you can't use that title. It's too awesome," and they won't take you seriously because they'll think you're an edge lord, which is true. But I don't know. You were saying?
I was gonna say like the name's absolutely amazing. And if it
Yeah.
was anything on a documentary series, I would probably watch it, but, like, as soon as I heard it was a documentary, I was like, "Eh, not my cup of tea."
Anyway, yeah, he did a bunch of like close-up photography of the insects used in this movie, and it's pretty well shot. He managed. I think
I was gonna
manages
ask
to like.
about that, so then that's all actual, like, interior shots of, like, anthills, correct?
I think a lot of there is a lot of it. I don't know that it all is, but they've definitely used like a good chunk of it, an impressive chunk of it. Like there's a couple scenes where I think maybe it's a
Okay, that makes way more sense because I thought that was all
there's maybe a couple scenes
yeah.
where it's like a prop, but I think there's actually some pretty like impressive direction of the ants, or
Mhm.
like just them getting lucky. I don't know how like much work this is to direct the ants like this, but he does a good job of it. I don't know. It's not saying on reception. I'm just gonna look at. I can't find anything that says they've actually killed ants for this, but I can't imagine they got away with it without doing that.
Oh, yeah, there's gonna be a few casualties along the lines,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
I'm gonna look
Yeah,
at
I don't think there's a
trivia.
good way to do this movie without
Yeah, I wonder if I could find trivia on IMDb. Okay, so they did. The one big thing is the ant queens we see in the movie are actually wasps. Because they didn't want to like disturb an ant colony to
show the
like
queens.
yeah, essentially.
I'm sorry, like
And they didn't
that
rip out the
is
wings of the wasp, which is a good sign. And I'm not seeing any like reference here that they killed a bunch of ants for it. Not that I really care, but like yeah, no, I can't see any yeah, no, I can't see any like reference to say they killed a bunch of ants for this. And they
yeah.
obviously didn't like disturb an entire colony, which is good, probably. Um
Yeah, but, like, out of those 2, there's one thing that you'd want to, like, disturb more, and I'm assuming it's not the wasp nest.
yeah, and they didn't like rip out the wasp wings to like make it look more like an amp either, so that's kind of like a good thing. But anyway, oh, we talked so much and we're not even out of the intro thing, but there's a lot to talk about actually. Because this is
Yeah.
I'm kind of impressed with this movie. Like there's some good work here. You can speak to the overall quality, but there's some work into this.
I think it kinda loses points when you start actually getting into, like, the finite details of what, the movie is actually about.
I think I mentioned like I mentioned the flip flopping of like Hub's character. Like that's a big negative
Yeah.
for the movie for it, because he is downright sinister in the first bits of the movie, and then it makes like a face turn right at the end, and it's not like thoroughly explained, or like right toward the end for like 10 minutes or something, for 10 minutes of his last bits of screen time. So we are introduced to our two scientists driving up to a Nevada development called Paradise City, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Please take me home. But no, it's in the middle of a desert.
I would almost give you props to this, but yeah, this is a desert and there's 2 women in this whole movie, and one's, like, semi-attractive and the other one's, like, this old lady, so,
Remind me when we get to her, get to that, to bring something up,
yeah.
because there's something I read about this that kind of like made me angry. But we'll leave it out for just for now, because I don't want to like skip too far ahead. Paradise City is a development of like four completed houses and like about a dozen like frames like of houses, like partially constructed things. Notably, what we see is like several tall pillars made from sand. They are like sort of resemble like at first you're like, oh, or those are like those tall ant hills you sometimes see in like Africa or whatnot. I think that's where they native. I think it's maybe termite hills actually. Are termites a species of ants? That's not important. Yeah, we see these pillars, which are very freaky. They're made of sand, but are perfectly square, like square pillars going straight up to like and then at the last foot, it like kinks backwards to reveal like a mouth, that allegedly ants can get out of. So that's it. They're pretty freaky looking. It's a nice bit of set of atmosphere. So that's a thing, and these two guys get out of the vehicle and look at the pillars while an ant watches on from below their very feet. Dun dun dun. It's revealed that the people from this development have all fled after some incidents. Lesko, the American, walks around and talks about his craft and like game theory. I don't know what anything is about as they examine a nearby crop circle. It's fairly basic. It's just like a perfectly regular circle with like a square in the middle. It's clearly been made with like farming equipment and not like the traditional way of like a board. But we talk about that, and it's interesting that like this thing made such an impression.
Yeah, and this is like a grass field.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be. Sometimes crops look like a bit of grass. Also, like they maybe couldn't get people to agree to let them cut their like wheat. Although, yeah, why would they? That's another thing. They have no way of making that connection. Like we know what like a crop circle is. These guys don't. These guys don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're
I
just like,
guess, yeah.
hey, let's make like a weird circle thing to like to like introduce the idea that the ants are like making weird structures. And like apparently they're doing this as a way of communicating. It's unclear what exactly they're doing. Like it's not entirely understood, which on one hand is frustrating as a viewer. On the other hand, it kind of makes sense because the ants are like they think very differently from people, so we're not going to perfectly understand their motives. So that kind of makes sense, but at the same time doesn't, which is interesting. But yeah, so yeah, we see the crop circle. It's yeah, interesting for like something that ends up being like a big thing, and we never see this. The crop circle's brought up later, but we don't see it again. But yeah, it's yeah, that's interesting. That now that I'm thinking about that, like we know circles are made in crops, but this could just be made in the grass. Like they're not trying to like they're not doing something the same. It's just like that's crops grow tall and it's and therefore easier to make circles in. It's not because they're not crop circles just because they want to mess with the crops. They're in there because for a practical purpose. You could, in theory, do it with sufficiently tall grass, but then people wouldn't see it as readily because farmers will go look at the crop circles and whatnot. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, they're one, and in the crop circle they find a dead sheep, which has three incisions in its neck. Evidently, the ants are like burrowing in and just making tiny little holes and then just going in and like ripping everything apart from the inside, which is scary actually. That's a pretty gruesome way to kill something. But yeah, that's that thing. We then are introduced to a couple farmers, a pair of farmers, a field hand, I guess, and their apparently 16-year-old daughter. I Yeah, that's a thing that's I guess a notice from the script or whatever.
Is she
And
16?
no, the actress is like a 20 or something in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actress is in her
I was just
20s.
saying, like, the character could be in their 20s too.
Yeah, here's the thing. The reason this is brought up is that she's a 16-year-old girl. They don't like portray her as a love interest or anything. Most we get is like a white t-shirt thing where I think we can like see her nipples through her t-shirt at the end. But I'm willing to give it some benefit of the doubt there, I guess. The point of the the goal here is not to make her a romantic interest, I don't think. But the reason this is I'm kind of like twisting my nose right now at this is just like evidently the director figured that she needed to make this 20-year-old actress look like a more like a 16-year-old. Yeah, she's 20 years old in this. Lynn Frederick is her name. She was made for this role to wear a painful ironclad corset to make her chest smaller, to make her appear younger. And throughout production, Bass also attempted to persuade Frederick to restrict her diet to chicken broth and black coffee to make her look thinner. So they made her do a whole bunch of bullshit for like something that is totally unnecessary for the plot. Like that,
Oh
like
yeah.
it's oh yeah, no, this is so stupid what he's doing here. No one cares that this girl needs to be 16. I have no idea. This is just a decision he made out of his own ass to like make this freaking actress's time on set a little bit more miserable. And it does nothing for the movie because
Mhm.
no one looks at this and thinks she's a
And
16-year-old
it's
girl.
it and there's the whatchamacallit's actually really subtle, like, some people could argue that, like, there's some romance going on between, like, the second scientist and,
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
this girl, but, like, that might be me reading into the very limited interactions that
Yeah.
I seen them
No,
have during the
that's
movie.
like what I was saying. Like they're not trying to like create a romance here, which keeps this from being the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Cause but I do like I gotta say the freaking thing they bothered this poor actress for nothing, essentially, and
And
it's
also, like,
stupid.
how old was the, mother character in this movie?
Let's see.
'Cause the one guy looks like he's, like, 60 or 70,
Oh,
the original farmer,
okay, the actress
like,
who
the
plays
main
the
farmer.
okay, the actress who plays the mother is Helen Horton. She was born in 1923, so in 1974 that would make her 51.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, I
she's
guess
supposed
if
to be in her
their
50s.
daughter's, like, 20, that's not
No, yeah, there's nothing weird about that.
completely out of the yeah.
The 20-year-old daughter is currently living with her parents. There's nothing strange about that
Yes.
whatsoever. Unless you're being like really strict about like when you have to move out of your parents' house, but I mean, again, she could even just be home from university or something. Like this could just be
Yeah.
she's just yeah. Like there's no you never blink an eye at her like a 20-year-old this actress just being assumed to be 20.
'Cause, and even if she was, like, staying at home and living on the farm, like,
Farms are
that's
work.
not
Farms are
unheard of.
yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah.
farms are work. Yeah, and we see her like riding around in a horse. I guess Lesko is like keeping a good eye on her or whatever. I guess that's maybe implying a romance, but I guess yeah, I guess it is, but I'm ignoring it. Oh god,
Yeah.
I was just like in the middle of the movie, like scrolling through the Wikipedia really quick, and I saw that and I was like, oh fuck off. What is this? Anyway, the two scientists are here to issue an evacuation order to the couple or to the family, which they do. They don't end up leaving. At least they didn't end up leaving immediately. I don't know if they were planning on it and just didn't go. But anyway, they're issued an evacuation order. The mother is quite upset about that. She doesn't want to leave. But yeah, the father's like, yeah, no, we're doing it for our protection, or at least he's like agreeing with it to get them to go away. Anyway, after they issue this order, we're also introduced to something the farmers have set up. They've set up like a fire trap to kill the ants to keep them from getting too close to the farm. So that's an interesting thing. They've like this is how serious it is. This is they've set up like a fire trap to kill the ants to keep them from their property. And this could just be because they're killing livestock, but still, that's pretty serious. Like, I don't know how much ants kill livestock in the southwestern United States, but I assume not that often.
So here's my thing on this. So at the start of the exposition, they state that the ants have started to like kill off their basic like predators, so like spiders and like other things that kill ants. I'm drawing blanks here. Anteaters notoriously. Um,
Small
but
small
like this,
mammals, probably
they took it. They
birds.
took out a sheep. Like, do sheep like
I don't think
eat
so.
ants?
I don't know if maybe the thing was just stomping
So,
on an anthill. That could be it.
oh, I guess if it's a territory thing,
It
maybe
was
yeah.
in the mid. It
Okay.
was also in the middle of like their crop circle, so it could have just been caught up in that while they were doing that whole thing. Anyway, we enter phase two, which is something that pops up in the middle of the thing. I don't know when phase three comes up. I missed it. Did you see it?
No, I have
Yeah,
no clue.
yeah. No, I missed
But
when
then
it said
again, I
phase
took a
three.
nap halfway through this movie, and I think I started it off where I thought I was, and then probably missed it there. But
It's also just in like white text in the far corner of the screen. So
mhm.
it is sort of easy to mix. It's not like super prominently placed. So that's a bit of a
Yeah,
problem. I guess it's a problem. It's not necessarily the biggest thing in the world. So now that they've seemingly cleared out the rest of the population, they've set up their lab, which is like an Epcot ball with like legs sticking out of it with like these balls that have like sprayers in them, so they can do some experiments to examine the ants.
yeah. I kind of really like this building,
Yeah, it's interesting.
but it's probably hot as fuck. So
I mean, it has an air
it
conditioner.
kind of
Yeah,
less interested
yeah.
in it when it's in the middle of a desert. But
I mean, they need a big air conditioner to keep their computers cool, which is an important part of the movie. Spoilers. As they're set up, their founder is getting a little impatient because the guys funding them are getting a little impatient because they want information on what's going here. They eventually just get it, say that like, "Hey, look, we'll have this information for you in a couple weeks," and that's it. So in order to like figure this out, in order to like prompt the ants into doing something, because they have been pretty quiet in the time since they've arrived, seemingly a couple days or a few days. So they take a grenade launcher and fire it at the pillars. Um, why they have that is a question beyond me. I can only assume it's because of the absurd lack of gun laws the United States have. I wasn't aware you could own a grenade launcher in Nevada or Arizona. But yeah, I
I'm
guess.
just like I'm just trying to figure out like what was going through the scientist's mind at one point where they're like, "Yep, and let me pack my normal expedition grenade launcher for
Yeah,
this
yeah. Ant
would be
mission. Yeah,
like ant mission."
yeah.
Like
This makes less sense
so
than the flamethrower in the thing. Like I can understand
well
that. Like I can understand the
yeah,
guys in the thing
or
having a
like
flamethrower a bit more, but
or even if it was like, "Oh, we've got this grenade launcher that can shoot out like insecticide uh grenades."
yeah, yeah,
Like,
that could be if
that
it was
would, like,
spewing
smoke
gas. Yeah.
off
Um,
or something like that. That would make sense, but, like, this was just a straight grenade launcher.
it's like that Family Guy bit where the exterminators just have guns. And at this point, they use up all their grenades on this, which is the other funny thing. Like they point out, like, "Oh yeah, we don't have one for later," which is
Mhm.
so. Yeah, they dynamite the pillars and they get some activity from the ants. That night, the ants go after that farm where the farmers have apparently not left. The ants start crawling over the horse, and to the point where like the farmer shoots the thing out of mercy because it's clearly in like a lot of pain. They don't show a lot of this, don't this isn't like a graphic scene if you're not too worried. If you are worried,
Yeah,
like since there there are like dead animals in
I
this,
was
but
actually
the horse is not visibly harmed.
yeah, I was actually more concerned that the horse was spooked by the fire that was going on off to the side rather than, like, it actually being consumed by ants or something,
Yeah,
but
no, but it was being consumed by ants, but you don't really even see the ants crawling over it. Granted, that would be a very
yeah.
difficult effect to do, probably. And probably not like super ethical, so they just do like shots of the horse like neighing in alarm. Presumably the
Mhm.
horse's trainer is getting it to do that. But yeah, the farmers have set off their fire trip, but the ants are already on the other side of it. So they end up fleeing in a truck. The mother sees ants in the father farmer's hair, so tries to get them out, and they end up crashing. And they try to go over to the lab for help, but but at this point the ants have set off a like managed to destroy the scientist's pickup truck, damaging some equipment. And in response, the scientists spray a lot like a powerful pesticide, killing everything in like a big circle around the lab, which is bad because the farmers have arrived next to the lab, just as this is happening. So the the farmers all get caught in the pesticide and die.
What happens to the girl at this point in time? 'Cause, I fell asleep
What
during this.
seems okay, what seems to have happened to her, and this is not revealed just yet. It'll be revealed in like a scene just after this where it's revealed. I think she ran into like a nearby house, or and was and hid in like a basement,
Okay.
like a tornado shelter, essentially. And yeah, that's where she ends up getting. So she avoids getting killed by the pesticide. The scientists come out the next morning in hazmat suits and find that the people are dead, and also the ants have left this have like been killed around the area, and also the ground is like coated in yellow spray, so the ants can't get in. And this kind of like says something about how like ready for this they were. Like from where they started, these ants were like a deadly threat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost surprising they don't have any sort of like in a lot of other movies they would have had like some military guy with them protecting them, but no, it's just these
Mhm.
two scientists on its own, which is interesting.
I like to think that the military was like, "Oh, yeah, we could give you an armed guard or 1 grenade launcher."
They do give them a good chunk of grenades. It's just they waste them all um, on nothing. But and I guess they do have this big spray thing, and I guess they figured that's all they needed. And what's really an army guy going to do? But anyway,
Shoot the
um,
ant.
cue the clip from the Family Guy episode uh, where they kill the ants with machine guns. So they find the girl. What is her name? Frida. Frida. I think it's Frida. Kendra. Kendra is her name. So they bring Kendra into the lab where they have to go like through a disinfectant process to get in. So she's in the lab with them. Hobbs said, or Dobbs says, or Hubs. Why do I keep getting his name wrong? Hubs. It's so small syllable. It's easy to confuse. So Hubs says he'll call somebody to come pick her up, but she'll have to stay here at least the night. He does not do this, adding to like the very sinister vibe he puts off for the entire movie, despite not actually ending up being that sinister. It does not make a lot of sense. It is one of the it is probably the major flaw of this movie, that they do not have a consistent characterization for him. I don't know if they changed a lot of the ending or something, but But essentially, they're saying they got to get picked up by helicopter because also the truck they have has been destroyed. So that's a bad thing. And the sign and Hubs will point out that he did this as bait, which is a very
Mhm.
strange thing to do if you're not like literally evil, trying to get yourself killed. He's very much in the first part of the first two thirds of this movie. He's playing this like, I am a sinister science, morally agnostic scientist who is doing everything to learn more. And then at the end, he's just like, yeah, we need to kill the ants. We need to kill the ants because that is the thing we need to do. It's just such a big shift.
I also really hate the way that this guy talks to, like, his research assistants,
Oh yeah,
'cause
no,
he's so fucking condescending a lot of the times. He's like, "Yeah, I would explain it to you, but I'm pretty sure your petty fucking mathematician mind couldn't handle the actual literal science I'm about to fucking drop on you, dude." Like, that was, like, some of the explanation that was, like, he was giving of it. Like, it just feels like lazy writing where they're like, "Yeah, we could give all this in, like, some form of conversation. Instead, we're not gonna do that at all because I'm a scientist and fuck you."
but yeah, Lesko doesn't buy into everything, but he doesn't probably show as much suspicion, at least initially, as he probably should. So they've also, while they were out there, they managed to isolate some ants for an experiment, for some experiments, which they set up. And they set up a good bundle of them. But when when Kendra realizes she's not getting sent home and they're not leaving, she topples over the ants, breaking their containment, which is a pretty bad thing because these ants kill people, as realized earlier. So they have to like purge the entire room, which is interesting. It is astounding how prepared these guys are. Really, like you can give them a lot of
Especially
shit.
for
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if this guy was just making shit up on the fly, but, like, he seemed to have some foreknowledge of, like, what he was walking into that, like, is rather, like, prepared for.
Yeah, no, they were definitely prepared for these ants to like come for their heads. Like that was definitely a thing they were like planning for. But yeah, like you can give these people a shit for a lot of things, but they are definitely ready for this situation.
And I mean, I guess they might have had a little bit of, like, a knowledge before that because apparently these, ants were destroying houses, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And
Like,
we do
they
see
were,
them just yeah, and we do see them destroy the farmhouse. Also,
yeah.
yeah, that was a thing I missed to saying.
So, ants bigger threat than we thought.
I'm not sure if termite is a type of ant. But that might be a explanation for that. So yeah, they do that. Lesko says he's going to end the mission, but very suspiciously, as that's happening, as he's yelling at Hobbs. I hate his last name. I'm getting it
Let's go.
confused with like, no, Hubs. I hate Hubs because I'm confusing it with like six other guys. It's such like a like it's like I think I've done like this so many times. It's like such a basic last name, I get it confused. But yeah, Hubs has like is like refusing to like send her away or get help, seemingly because he's evil. But I guess not toward the end because maybe they're saying like he made a change of heart on that, but it's not terribly well established. But as they're going to like call for help, it's revealed that the ants have like at that moment sabotaged the communication systems. My initial theory was that Hubs put the ants there, and that after I assumed like maybe he had been like infected by the ants, like the ants had burrowed into him and like had gone into
Yeah.
his brain and were controlling him, which isn't the thing they can't do, as we're revealed to later. But it's not what they're doing to Hubs, at least as far as we can tell.
Sorry, like, I was just thinking of, like, ants trying to be as human as possible because, like, you'd think they wouldn't know, like, what, like, humans do, so they'd be, like, running around like 2 raccoons pretending to be humans, or, like, 2 kids in a trench coat pretending to be an adult or whatever.
Okay, so we don't see too much of it in this in like the ending of this, but in the extended ending, it's called the Lost Ending. I can send you a link to it. Um, but like we see what they do to we see what the ants do when they control people's brains. And it's interesting how we'll
Oh,
say. Yeah. Briefly though, it's not like a we don't get into like a huge bunch of detail, but there's a couple things. Moving on though,
mhm,
yeah, no, it's really weird that he's not being that Hubs isn't being controlled by the ants. Like that is just so
yeah.
different. Anyway, the ants have started dragging away the poison grain by grain, or at least they've been doing that partially. But also the ants like tear like drag away like a piece of the like a chunk of the poison because it's like there's particles of it. It kills 3 ants before like a winged ant picks it up and seemingly is able to adapt to it. The winged ant brings it to the queen, who integrates that DNA into her and starts giving birth to yellow larvae. I don't know how they did that. If anyone has a making of documentary for this movie, please send it to me. I am genuinely curious. It could also be a prop. I don't know. But yeah, it's giving birth to yellow ants that are immune to the pesticide because I guess these ants have figured out how to mutate themselves to become more powerful. What do they do with this ability to not like poison to not be poisoned by the ants? Do they try to weasel their way into the laboratory? No, it turns out. What they do is construct sand slabs with mirrors on them. Your guess how they did that is as good as mine. I think they just like I think it's possible they're just like the pillars are just covered with shiny ants, or they're like taking like the shiny particles of sand and like putting them on the top layer and like forming a sort of a mirror, like a pretty effective mirror, because the end goal here is to reflect the sun onto the lab to make it heat up so it overpowers the air conditioner for the lab, which will at a certain point kill the people inside. It's stated in the movie, I don't know how true this is, that humans can survive up to 120 Celsius for extended periods of time, or like as an extended environment, or not Celsius, Fahrenheit. The temperatures are in Fahrenheit here. uh, but more pertinent at the moment, the computers will fail at 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is definitely happening.
Yeah, okay, that got dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I get like,
I
okay,
I I
overheating the computers makes sense. I just like there's so many like leaps there. Like I don't know how that works. Like how they know to reflect the sun to overheat the computers inside is a good goddamn question.
think
Which
maybe
go ahead.
maybe the ants are trying to, like, sabotage the, like, information getting out about him, but, like, here's my thing, like, this movie couldn't be shot today because that is so fucking dumb because everything's just uploaded to a server nowadays, like, so everything would just be
Yeah,
on, like, the cloud and, like, the
true.
information would already be out there, but, like, this is 1974, and I guess computers are a little bit
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
less advanced and giant at this point in time. So
Yeah, and like you can still like overheat computers today to be sure to be fair. But okay, for the non-barbarians in the audience, it's 32.2 Celsius at 90 degree Fahrenheit. And 120 Fahrenheit is 48 degrees Celsius. For those of you who are civilized and use the metric system.
and I
But
mean like I think we've had plus 48 days around here.
it's happened, yeah.
Have we not?
Um, yeah.
like, they're miserable as hell,
Oh,
but,
yeah.
like
And they do, yeah, the air conditioner is fighting this. Which okay, my only explanation for this, which is okay, this is another reason why I harp on the dubs thing, is because like that would have been an explanation for this at least. That Dubs was being controlled by the ants, and he was somehow communicating with them that this is what they needed to do in order to like destroy the lab. Like that still doesn't make a ton of sense, but it is an explanation for why they'd be doing this.
I like to think it's one of those, ant things where it's like, "Well, we need to destroy the computer thing. How do we destroy the computer thing?" And ants don't like sun, so they're like, let's harness the sun to destroy the computer thing, even though we've seen that we can short circuit wires by just chewing through 'em."
Yeah, I mean, you could maybe say that the computer thing is just incidental, and that they're actually just trying to kill them through heat stroke, and and the computer thing is just a
Sure.
coincidence. Like I think that's maybe
Yeah.
something you could say, but yeah, it's weird. So in addition to this, there's an ant in a lone ant in the building who is trying to sabotage the air conditioning system. How it knows what the air condition. I mean, okay, so air conditioning puts off cold air, so I think it can probably. I mean, I think that's maybe what it's doing. It's picking up. Okay, cold air comes from here, so we're gonna destroy whatever the fuck's in this thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, the ant is trying to chew through a wire to destroy the thing, and then a random praying mantis shows up to kill the ant, which it does, and it's saving everyone. This mantis is like the hero of the movie, honestly. Like I cheered for this mantis.
Didn't they also state that the ants have become, hive-minded?
Well, yeah, I think they've stated that like ants are always kind of hive-minded, is at least Dub's interpretation of it. But yeah, they
Okay,
also
so
that was
maybe it's a different definition of hive mind, I guess, maybe?
yeah, I
Because
don't
like,
know how.
if you because wouldn't they just send more ants if they were trying to sabotage the, air conditioning system at this
Okay,
point?
yeah, that's the other plot hole with this is like how did these ants get in here? Like I guess they sent two ants in this
Yeah.
building somehow because they have two ants in here. I have no idea how that worked. The praying mantis is actually less of a plot hole because it's been stated like praying mantises are something they had in this lab in order to test some theories toward predation or whatever. So there was actually like a Chekhov's praying
Okay.
mantis earlier in the movie. That was one of the experiments they were going to do before Kendra sabotaged that one lab or destroyed that one lab. But after this mantis heroically destroys the ant, it is tripped over by ant with a green butt that trips it over, and it falls onto a bit of copper wire, tragically dying in our attempt to save our heroes. The mantis is the best hero of 1974. I feel confident saying that. So, at this, the air conditioner catches on fire and is dead. So, this is going to allow the computers to overheat during the day. They cool off briefly during the night so that they can use them. So, they can use them for a couple hours during the night. They talk, Dubs or Dub and Lesko say this might be intentional, which Dub is kind of starting to agree with. But yeah, there's a lot of weird things about how this works. It's there's so much I can say that I like about this movie that I'm willing to ignore some of the plot, but it is like tipping. It does tip over that fresh work. If the plot were like 40% better, this would be like a great movie. But it's just
Mhm.
not. There's too many plot holes for it to like be considered like a good movie or like a passable movie,
Yeah.
sadly. But there like because there's great stuff in here. It's just the plot's just just a bit too weak. Like if they shaved even
Yeah.
like one or two of these plot holes, I'd be giving this above a 5. Like it
Hmm.
is not like the scale is only barely tipped. So anyway, oh, simultaneously with this, their attempt to kill the mirrors because they used all their grenades destroying the dumb pillars is to somehow set up the computers in the thing to set off a really high frequency sound which is shattering the beakers and eventually just shatters some of the mirrors. It shatters about two of them. It's not like a fast process. Like it's clear this is clearly like a fight against time in order to prevent the mirrors from heating them up. But it turns out the AC dies before they can destroy all the mirrors. I think they destroy three of them. It's a pretty tense scene. If the plot wasn't so good, this is very much like a height of the movie. Honestly, despite how little sense it makes.
Okay. So I googled, can ants explode with high frequency? Th- I couldn't find anything about it, but apparently there's some ants called kamikaze ants, which when they are threatened, they explode and release a toxic substance that kills its attackers, which is pretty hardcore.
Okay, where are they from?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because
Um,
this is actually relevant. Because they're merging ant populations. We've probably seen like 4 different breeds of ants here, I think, at least.
Southeast Asia.
Okay, so they're not from here. Okay. All right. So that's not what's happening here. Anyway. So yeah, they're pretty hooped now. Because the communications are dead. The computers are dying for most of the day and all but like a couple hours in the night. So yeah, they're pretty hooped. One and yeah, we the ant with the green butt. I don't know the explanation for this. It's just an ant with a green butt. I don't know if that's a type of ant, but there's an ant with a green butt that's kind of like menacing the trio by wandering around. And eventually Dub notice it wanders right in front of Kendra's face and causes her to panic. Dub eventually sees it and tears apart an entire lab trying to kill it before eventually just smashing it. And this is the point of the movie where he becomes like anti-ant. So yeah, this is where the
Yeah.
character shift happens about here because now he's angry at the ant. He is also noted he was bitten by an ant while during when Kendra broke those vials full of ants, and it is just like wrecked his left arm or right arm. Yeah, right arm. It like
One of his arms, yeah.
totally. Yeah, it is like swollen. We've seen in his couple scenes. It's pretty brutal.
Hmm.
It's clearly he's like in quite a bit of pain actually. I thought like again this was more evidence toward him getting controlled by the ants because I thought maybe the ant had burrowed in and that's why he was kind of like hiding his arm under his jacket, which was the thing he was doing. But yeah, no, it doesn't end up being the case, evidently, unless they're like partially controlling him, but there's no evidence toward that in the movie. Lesko gets the idea that he's going to like send a message to the ants, which he does, and he gets back essentially, and yeah, he gets a message back, which he takes a while to interpret. Dub says they need to kill the ant queen, which he does some work to start locating. We find a mouse on on like a camera somewhere, which they have, which they tune into just in time to watch it get killed. So they need to find the queen. At this point, I guess Kendra loses hope and just leaves the lab. Do you remember why she left at all?
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm, no.
yeah. No, I'm gonna just look through the synopsis, see what it says. But yeah, no, I was not clear why she did that.
Push the plot forward.
Yeah, I mean, not really. She's not really does anything. She doesn't really do anything.
Relevant?
Oh, okay. So what the synopsis is telling me, is that she's become convinced that her actions have enraged the ants, and seeking to save the scientist, she abandons the lab and sacrifices herself. No idea where she got that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, no act. She is like actively. She's actually like debatably. I thought maybe she was infected with the ants because like she knocked
She's
over
the
those
only one that
vials.
actually helped the ants during this movie,
Yeah,
though.
technically, yeah, yeah.
So
She didn't do anything to them. I guess she just had her mind break, but yeah, no, that's a. I did not pick up on that. That's another like mark against the movie right there. Lesko has it in his head that he's going to try that he wants to try to communicate with the ants and like negotiate with them because clearly they've like ascended toward like a intelligent being that could perhaps be communicate with him, and they've sent messages back and forth at this point. And it's kind of he comes to the conclusion that they're trying to figure out which one of these people is the smartest like rat in the test is how they put it. Like essentially, yeah, that's a whole thing. It's weird. Again, Dub says they need to find the queen and kill it, but they go outside to, I guess, go look for the girl. And Dub falls into a pit trap the ants have created and gets devoured by the ants, and that is how he dies. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this would have been more deserved if he hadn't like made a face turn toward the end of the movie for no reason. I mean, there's reasons, just not anything that's like consistent with the rest of his character. It's a heck of a
yeah,
face turn, is my point. Like it could like this could be done. You can absolutely like probably. I think other movies have done this better, but yeah,
I
no, it's
think
not done good here.
yeah, you could have definitely like, because he's. I think I read on the Wikipedia page that he's infected with some form of toxin.
Oh yeah, that's I think
Like
that's
he's kind of
what's messing
low
with
key
his
going
arm.
crazy, but like yeah, it's messing with his arm. But
He was crazy at the beginning of the movie before they bit him or
he
anything.
he he was kind of a dick at the beginning of the movie. Let's both be
Exactly.
honest. He wasn't like batshit or anything.
Yeah.
Like clear. What I'm saying is, we clearly see like how his mental health is by the end of the movie. Like he's
Yeah.
definitely paranoid.
He's actually like he actually
But
it's
I would have
actually weird.
actually,
He's gotten like clarity toward the end of
I
the
would have
movie
liked
where
to seen it a little more.
yeah. Yeah, like he does not have like a well-shown character arc. I think we can agree on that.
Hmm.
He has character, but it's consistent. It's inconsistent depending on what part of the movie you're in.
Yeah.
Like you have the very arrogant characterization from the first act, the like like saboteur personality from like the second act, and like the we must destroy this evil personality from the third act, and they are not like there's no transition between them
Hmm.
or even an intention between them. It's weird. So Essek yeah, Esco gets his hazmat suit and just charges toward the queen, which is like a long ways away. The ants manage to like get after him, and he has to like abandon the suit because they've like cleared him, and he ends up falling into a hole where he finds like this very crystalline sand and like a big spotlight in the underground that Kendra emerges from, apparently possessed by the ants. And that's sort of the end of the movie where Lesko says that the ants wanted them. They wanted to like possess and mutate humanity toward their own ends and put them into the hive mind, I guess. He actually says he doesn't know why they're doing it, just that they're doing it. Which, on one hand, these are an alien, the weirdly alien threat that like think very differently, and this communicates that very well. But it doesn't communicate that very well. So it's the double-edged sword here. And yeah, that's the end of the movie. In the extended ending, which is like a 5 minute montage, which we see about a minute of in this, maybe like 45 seconds actually. And it shows like it consists of like Lesko looking toward the spotlight, seeing Kendra emerge from the sand, and like the bits where like the we see like red dots over like silhouettes of these people, of Lesko and Kendra, which is meant to symbolize the burrowing holes that the ants were making earlier in the movie, and therefore getting into their minds and bodies. Um, in the extended ending, they show like the ants through like specialized photography being made to look way bigger than the people to symbolize that they are the new lords of humanity. And we see a bit of what they do with humanity. They're just kind of like being humans are just being harvested in their world, and they're being made to run through mazes like test animals, among other things.
Oh, that's really boring.
Also, like a whole other stuff about like people flying, which I guess is meant to communicate that like human. This is like from the ants' perspective, it's the humans ascending in a certain friend of the words, and also like it's very trippy and everything. It is. It's quite nice. Someone likes it quite a bit. The clip I actually saw, the video I saw of the extended ending was actually like taken from like like a cinema screening of the movie, and like people were clapping at the end because that's where people have seen it. It's been shown in like screenings of the movie. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this extended thing hasn't been released on Blu-ray or anything yet. It got like a theatrical run in like 2012. Notably, they did a like it was prominent at like a full day of like Saul Bass productions that they did in like December 2012 at like art house theaters. But anyway, um but yeah, that's a whole thing about like that shows like ants taking over humanity. Which actually you kind of believe they can do it by the end of this movie. Cuz like you're
Yeah,
like
but like,
go ahead.
I just don't like that they went like the rat within a cage route where they're like, and we are going to now as ants, we're going to experiment on these humans.
Mhm.
I'd like to see that like our new ant overlords are like, yeah, you're gonna do all the grunt work for us because we are huge and you are tiny now.
To be fair, I don't think that's really what's happening here. It's so much it's more that like the ants are like forcing us into the hive mind is my impression. Or like we're becoming like tools of them because they're like piloting us like meat Gundams.
Gross.
I think one of those two things is true. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's so much like a it's not like a totalitarian state sort of thing in the traditional sense. It's like a group of like a terrifying sci-fi doom.
Yeah.
Uh any final points?
I like that there's an extended version that at least gives some idea to what to actually, because they left that so open-ended by the end of the other one where they're like, I don't know what's the ants have planned for us, but what I do know is that they do have a plan for us. And then like it just cuts to black essentially. Like, it just
Some
kind
of
of
this
like,
is my interpretation, I will grant, but it is a lot more clear, I think. I will send it to you here just so you can see it a little later. It's like 5 minutes, it's not terribly long.
yeah.
I think it's yeah, it's an interesting movie. I just wish I wish it was better. Like it's that's a kind of a good
Oh
sign
yeah.
where like oh I like I want it to be better and it's not too far off. Like a good script
Hmm.
revision could have saved this movie, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if they had the right guy giving them a good beta read and like giving them the right suggestions, this could have been pretty decent. Does it make a ton of money in that universe? No, probably. I don't know, but I think it's at least like a classic if you do that. Whereas this is like, okay, it has some neat stuff. It's just not very. It's not necessarily the best in the script department, but it's got genuine tension. There's freaky stuff in it. I kind of wish they put it on the extended cut. It doesn't make the movie that much longer, especially compared to what the
I
movie's
would.
already made you sit through. It's not going to like if you're not turned off already by what it's done to you. It's not. going to be worse based on what the extended cut does. Because we do have like
Yeah, and
5 minute montages in this movie already. So
I also would have liked to have seen like some level of like, I mean, maybe it's a lot harder to do in 1974, but like
mhm.
s- no, because I mean the Fly was around at that point in time. I would have liked to
Yeah,
seen like some human ant like hybrids. Um,
yeah, I guess.
maybe not so maybe not so much because like I wouldn't want that to be like the gimmick of the movie, but like
Yeah,
even just one or two,
yeah. It's
or like
like
I would have
they could do other stuff with the special effects, but I don't really want them to like do anything where like there's another gimmick to the movie. Like I didn't get that. I never had that craving. Like they could do like I absolutely got
yeah.
the impression they could do more stuff, but I wouldn't want any of that to become distract. Like something that would be like
Like
2 minutes at the end or something.
yeah, even if it was like a throwaway comment, a comment where they're like, where they took the body of like Hobbes or like the person of Hobbes and like threw him in at the end where he's kind of mutated and offsided into something more like evil, because like to me the ants are just like they're just too much of like a non-demeanor threat, right? They're definitely trumped up because of like their intelligence and stuff like that, but like I don't I don't see it as like an actual threat. I'm more like this is Macaulay Culkin in like Home Alone at this point, that like, or like the toy soldiers in Small Soldiers, like, yes, they're dangerous, but they're still, like, 2 feet tall or under 2 feet tall, like, 2 centimeters.
Yeah, this is a kind of Die Hard movie, isn't it? This is a bit of Die Hard energy now that you're saying that. Like that like yeah. Because Home Alone is Die Hard with children. Let's be honest. But yeah, no, I'd even take not to go as far as the imitation, but like in the version where like Dub is just a straight up villain, Dub getting like becoming like a thrall of the ants and just like attacking Lesko is
Mhm.
like in like you could demonstrate with that with just like having the incisions somewhere on his body that we can see. And like in like us putting it together from there. I think that could be like a good 2 minute
Or
bit.
or like, Hobbs's, like, running insanity could have been done super well, where, like, he went from like, "We've gotta stop the ants," to, by the end of it, "Oh, I got stung by a diseased ant, and now I'm somehow trying to do the ant's bidding," type ordeal would have been cool, and, like, maybe some, like, deepening sickness there, that would have been something that they could have done, and, like, it's not hard, or, like, even, like, costume aspect wise of it, but, like, it's just better visual storytelling, um, that I would have liked to have been able to see
Yeah.
here, and it just kinda lacked that.
Something different needed to be done. We can brainstorm literally all day of like, okay, they could have done this to make it better. They could have done this to make it better. Um Something that's kind of refreshing is like we
Yeah.
don't spend the whole movie in like these things must be destroyed mode cuz like that voice is
Mhm.
almost not present in the movie, which is kind of interesting actually. Like this is
I guess
almost
up
like
until the
it's
end where they're
different.
like, "We
Yeah.
need to take out the queen."
Yeah, and even then it's like, okay, we need to do this so that we don't die. It's never like like the fact that these things are going to destroy the world is like subtext. It's like that's not even like our primary concern right now. This is just about us getting out alive. It's almost kind of Lovecraftian in a sense. Cuz these things like I don't like it's not so much that like these things are going to destroy the world in the next week. It's like how do we stop them from moving? Like can we like
Yeah.
we're not destroying all ants on earth. Yeah, no, that's not a thing that's on the table.
How do we contain a threat, essentially?
Yeah, for like this. Like if It's
It's
same,
like if
yeah.
zombies were to be an outbreak and they're like, how do we contain the zombie outbreak? Not necessarily how do we deal with all the zombies?
And moreover, like, these are more difficult to deal with than zombies, realistically, because like, you can, like,
Yeah.
decapitate a zombie or whatever. Like, how you're not
Hmm.
killing every ant on Earth to solve this problem. Like, that is like
No.
a scary, like, I don't even know what, like, like, us trying to exterminate an insect species on purpose would be like. Like, that would, like,
Especially
I
not
don't even know
something
what we
that
do,
burrows
yeah.
into the ground.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, it's not even a flying thing, it's like, you gotta go into the ground and somehow track down every last one of these things. Like, it would be like some super complicated thing where we, like, destroy an entire, like, phylum of animal, or whatever ants are. I don't
Yeah.
know. Is it a phylum? I'm not a biologist. But no, it's a
I am
very
also not a biologist.
no. It's a very, like, this movie has a scary thought to it. And, like, it does a lot well, it's just the
Mm,
plot's not there. That's just the sad fact of it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. What do you give the movie, Cody?
I'm gonna give the movie like a I want to say 4 out of 10. Like I'm in that
I'm there
four to
too.
three range where I'm kind of stuck because like I there's definitely like potential here,
Mhm.
and like if it was done today, it could have been done so much better. And like I'm also like not a big fan of all the exposition that's given off like right off in the beginning. It kind of like really
Yeah.
offsets the mood because like it reminded me of the David Cronenberg special we did for
Mm.
Canada Day a couple of years back where it's just like this British guy talking to me.
Mhm.
So it kind of really offset my mood for like the first start of the movie. But I mean, how do you even like explain that?
Yeah, no, I'm of the same mood of you as you here. Like, I like, we're of one mind here, because, like, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to give this a 4 because there's a lot of bits I like, but it's probably more realistically a 3 just based on, like, all the bad stuff that's in it. But it's definitely not. It doesn't qualify as like a good movie. I'd recommend watching it because there's cool stuff in it. You're not gonna, like, it's not like a bad. You don't walk away from it miserable, if nothing else.
It's definitely something that like you have to actually you have to expand like the initial thought process of like actually sit there and consider how much like of a threat this would actually be if it were to
Yeah,
happen. Because if you don't do that, then like you don't really walk away with like
and I feel they do
I'd
convince
say
you of
any
that.
like
Like, they do convince you that these things are fucking dangerous by the end of the movie. Even if there's a case, like the mirror
yeah,
thing is pretty
especially because
silly.
like
Like, I could see someone getting really hung up on the
yeah,
mirror thing and just, like, not buying it at all. But yeah.
but when they're taking out like trucks or
Mhm.
they're like destroying houses like and especially if these things were like growing and like honestly there is 90 different types of ants in Saskatchewan.
Mhm.
And this isn't even getting into some of the like the bigger ants cuz there's like flying ants, there's fire ants.
When you get into, like, the
Um
territory of, like, this is a tropical place and we don't have to deal with, like, the ground freezing over every year, like, that's another thing.
mhm.
And, like, there's genetic manipulation, but, like, even if we the mirror things, they could do something else here. Like, is that a silly plot point? Sure, but it is not the only way for them to get into to fuck with these guys in that lab. Like, there's probably something else you could think about if you that they could fucking do here if you really wrapped your brain around it. Like, this is not like,
Or just like
yeah.
once again it boils down to writing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if it was written better, it could have been way more way more sinister. And like I guess another qualm I had with it in the beginning, like you could definitely do this movie as like to do the reverse of it, like just some scientists who were working on like genetically modifying ants messes up and gives the ants too much intelligence, and the ants are like this one went so weirdly out of its way to just like change something or create something that's like so easy to recreate that they overthought it and kind of shot themselves in the foot because of it, because like that's so easy to do. We're a team of scientists working on genetically modifying ants. Let's let's explore that idea and see what we can brainstorm and come up with. And they're like, yeah, no, instead this like mysterious cosmological effect has caused all the ants in the world to start mutating. Yada yada yada. Like,
Shit, I could say just have it be a natural mutation. Like just have that be the next
yeah,
evolutionary leap in
yeah.
ants. Like that's is that like okay,
Oh
what
yeah.
is like really like I'm not an insectologist or whatever, but like what is the reason like these two species like any two species of ants aren't like merging? Like is it really so like what is really like physically keeping like the black ants and the red ants at war? Like, what if it just like, what if
Territory.
it's, yeah, yeah. Like, what if what, yeah, what if it just, yeah, no, true, no, and like, okay, let's say that's gone tomorrow, like that, like,
Sure.
it's just like you could have just any throwaway explanation. You could just have no weird sciency thing doing it. It could just be like, oh, they evolved and like they managed to like sort out the differences and like it managed to pull that off. Like that could happen. I don't know, but no,
I like
no.
to think um ant racism plays a huge part in it.
Mhm. Yeah, that would
But
suck if the ants got over racism before we did.
oh damn. I didn't even think
Like,
about
can
that.
can
But
that be can that be our goal? Can that be our goal to get over racism before the ants do? Like
oh
at the
jeez.
very least, it's competition now. We have to win. Yeah, no, I recommend this. Like, it's not like good, like literally good, but we've had like we talked about this for 2 hours. It's like fine. Like we had fun with it. Oh yeah, no, I don't regret watching this for a second.
And I mean, honestly, if you're not doing anything else tonight, just literally go type into Google Ant Wars, and like I'm pretty sure YouTube had like 5 to like 10 videos on it.
And this movie's only 120 minutes long, too. That's just the thing we gotta point out. It's not terribly long. Add 5 minutes on it. Watch the extended ending on YouTube, the lost ending. It's pretty like it's not like a super long movie.
Actually, I think I was looking at the Mystery Science Theater
Hmm.
episode, and I think the whole episode on that was 130 minutes. But that doesn't really make sense because
They have
aren't they?
they have skits. They have
Is
skits in the middle of it.
okay.
Yeah, so there's like 8 minutes of
I just thought
skits.
it was only a 30
No,
minute
it's
show.
no, they like riff an entire movie and then like have like
Yeah.
5 minutes of skits in addition to it. That's
Okay.
how that show
I've
works.
never seen an episode, so
Yeah, I saw the one when we did I saw the one for Manos, but those are sort of
I
difficult to watch just because they're hard
oh
to find and yeah, yeah, there's rights issues.
that's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess.
they do riff tracks now is what some of those guys do. Anyway, I think next the original Fast and Furious movie. How's that sound? The
Um,
1954 Fast and
like
Furious.
oh, oh, we're not even watching like
No,
whatchamacallit?
no, this is like the thing where they get the name from.
Vin Diesel.
No.
Am I gonna be more or less disappointed the fact that we're not doing something with Vin Diesel in it?
I mean, if you ever want to just do we can make this just a Vin Diesel podcast if you want. We can do like a Vin Diesel episode eventually. We haven't had Vin Diesel on the show eventually, have we? Oh, we should just make like a separate
Have we
Vin
done
Diesel
it?
fan cast. Frankly, I could get into
No, no,
that.
no, 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 no. We definitely no. We did Bloodshot last season, so I mean,
Oh right,
technically,
yes,
we've had Vin Diesel in the podcast. It's
Mhm,
just like
true.
And I mean, arguably, that's not the worst Vin Diesel movie. So,
Oh no, but not by far.
what do you think is shortlisted for that?
Um,
The
okay, so like
pacifier?
Fast, maybe Fast 9 probably is on there. I think that's the worst Vin Diesel Fast and Furious movie. Followed by like 6. What all does he have? I'm just gonna look this up because we're doing this now. I don't know if I throw any of the Riddicks on there. I don't hate any of them. Obviously the Chronicles of Riddick isn't as good, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a fourth Riddick movie eventually coming out. That'll be fun. He's in the new Avatars.
The the Last Airbender or
No,
the
he's gonna be in the blue, like the James Cameron ones. I guess.
all 5 of them that nobody asked for?
No, yeah. He was in a Hitman movie apparently. Oh, there's a lot of stuff that's like random. Yeah, no, there's lots of stuff that he's just like in that's probably in there that like no one's actually watched.
Yeah,
Like have you ever heard of Boiler Room or Strays?
oh no, it's probably like B tier
Oh yeah, no.
um action movies.
Yeah, no, there are movies where he has hair, which is probably the most damning thing I need to say.
Okay.
Like I think as recently as like 2006. But yeah, no. Yeah, I wonder what the worst Vin Diesel movie is. Cuz he's got a lot of good movies. I think there's a lot of bad ones, but
I think the pacifier is definitely up there on the list. I
oh,
think the
probably.
pacifier is like I hate it when they try and make kids action like hero movies
He's in the 2007 Hitman movie, which was I guess probably bad. I'm assuming it's a comic movie.
as the hitman.
He does not play Hitman.
Okay.
Timothy Oliphant plays Hitman. He plays.
The name sounds vaguely familiar. Okay.
I'm not even finding him in the cast list. I don't know. Maybe people just think he's in it. I don't know.
They're like he's bald. He's definitely in this movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we
Yeah.
need to go. It's like give us the like, comment, subscribes, good reviews on the the your favorite podcasting platform. And yeah, see you guys next later this month. Yeah, we'll get something else on July, I think. Anyway, see ya. Bye.